So as we all know, there rarely ever is any happy endings on Power, and it was only a matter of time before we saw a death that was going to be a game-changing moment. And there wasn't just one, there were two. There was Gloria and also Miriam Egan. Now with Gloria, just like Jenard blames Tommy over Elijah, Vic is now going to see it the same way with Gloria, and this is going to push him deeper into the Flynn family organization under Walter's ways. Because now that Gloria is dead, he only has one thing left, which is what Walter's always wanted. But the second death was Miriam Egan, and this is why we saw Kate Egan again, and it's only a matter of time before she comes to Chicago. But elsewhere, over the course of episode 8, we saw Tommy continue to build his organization and finally accepting JP's offer of wanting in on the game by putting him in the labs. But that's not all. As well as Kate's reveal, we saw the Dmacc reveal, but we're going to be dissecting everything in this review and recap as usual, from Tommy to the Flynns, to Jenard and the CBI, Kate Egan, and Dmacc. But let's start with Tommy building his organization and revealing himself as the Connect behind Dahlia. And now he's got 2 distros on board with Moshai and Soto, but he's got eyes on all the crews on Chicago. But he needed the supply to match the demand first, so to do that he needed a new cook on board. But Tommy's been dead set against bringing JP into the business from the start, and that's because he's scared about what could happen to JP, because he's already lost one brother. But his situation keeps on getting deeper, because he's about to lose his club, and he's got an operation to pay for with Herman. So with that being said, when Tommy asked JP how good he was at science, we all knew what he was thinking, and it was better to have him in the labs than putting him at risk in the clubs or on the streets. And he opened up to Liliana about the idea, and revealing that JP is his brother. And this is why Liliana is so important to Tommy. He trusts her with his secret, and also because she gets the game. Just like she told Dr. Williams, she's been battered and bruised, she's been slashed, burned, shot, suffered broken bones, but she's still here, because she's resilient as a motherfucker. And there is no luck involved in this game, because the minute it runs out, that's when you get got. So again, this scene proves why she's Tommy's right-hand woman. But we saw Tommy introducing JP to Liliana, who was teaching him how to cook. But I'm sure everybody else noticed that she may just have a thing for JP. So that's definitely something to watch, because let's see if she sticks by her rule of not mixing business with pleasure. But sticking with Tommy and his business, he was questioned, why weren't they bringing the CBI on board as distros? Because they run the south side of Chicago, and they've also got the Serbs pipeline. But Tommy knows they've got a power struggle at the top of their organization, because he's seen it at first hand with Diamond and Jenard. And he also knows that Jenard can't be trusted, because Dmacc warned him that he needs to watch his back. So doing business with the CBI at this moment, when they've got their own internal power struggle, isn't always the best idea, because the CBI problems would then become their problems, and Tommy wants to avoid this at all costs. And Tommy's point was proven, because Jenard's still playing games behind Diamond's back, telling him that even if he has a small role to play in the CBI, then he's happy. But we all know that's bullshit, and we're gonna get to Jenard's move in just a moment. But this is the problem with Claudia Flynn. She's still learning the game from Tommy, and she doesn't know the CBI like Tommy does, so she made a move with Diamond, offering him 10% behind Tommy's back. So clearly Tommy telling her that the CBI were no good in this moment went in one ear and out the other, and this is why shit gets messy, and Diamond knows the same, which is why we saw him turning down the offer, but not before he got the information he wanted. He definitely knows that Claude is behind Dahlia, which is why he questioned it. And someone else who's been questioning Claude is Walter Flynn, who in episode 7 described himself as the devil, and earlier on in the week I compared him to Raquel, who I described as the devil in a red dress, because they are 2 very similar characters in terms of control and manipulation when it comes to their kids. And Monet is in that conversation as well, because we've seen a very similar theme with controlling parents, and with Monet, we saw Tariq telling her that he's the one that she can trust the most out of her kids, and the same could be said with Walter and Tommy, because both Vic and Claude are going behind Walter's back, whereas Tommy is straight up business. So where he told Claudia that he'll crush whatever she's into, we saw him making his move on Tommy, but not before trying to get through to Vic. But that's a huge problem in itself, which surrounds Gloria, and we're gonna get to that in just a moment. But Walter meeting Tommy revealed more than just him wanting Tommy to join the Flynn family organization. It revealed Walter's backstory, and some of you may remember, I made a video on this, but here's where Walter revealed where he moved from Ireland to Glasgow when he was growing up, and this explains his Scottish accent. But apart from his backstory, we're now seeing the part play out from Vic's character description, where Walter takes more of a liking to Tommy, and that's because Walter knows Tommy did have the right idea in episode 3. But Tommy's done playing second fiddle, he's running his own hustle, and he turns down Walter Flynn's offer. but he realized that Gloria was in trouble because of how Walter said he wished Tommy stayed sleeping with Gloria because he noticed the way they looked at each other in the bar at Dr. Parker's in episode 3. But he was right to think Gloria was in trouble because we even had Walter telling Uncle Paulie that this girlfriend thing, he can call it off, which he did already because he knows that Walter Flynn is going way too far and he's pushing his kids further and further away. So with that being said, let's talk about Gloria's death. Because when Tommy got wind of her being in trouble, he told Vic that he needs to grab Gloria and leave. And Tommy really was trying his best to help Vic in this situation. He turned down Walter's offer, he never started no shit when he was voted out of their deal, and he was trying to save him and Gloria by even giving him a clean ride. Because he's always got a soft spot for love as well as family. But what turned Vic's mind was this conversation that he had with Uncle Paulie. Because when he told him how Walter Flynn asked Tommy to join the Flynn organization, Vic was probably thinking that Tommy's just trying to get rid of me so he can take his place. And this is why he chose to take his car and not Tommy's, which was a huge fatal mistake. Because the Serbs were back and Gloria paid the price, and now we really are going to see Vic's turn in character and possibly even go against Tommy, because going against the Serbs was Tommy's idea. But this is the cost of doing business, but Vic won't see it in the way that Tommy was just trying to help him. So it definitely is going to cause some issues between Tommy and Vic. But let's talk about the CBI, because we saw Diamond asking Jenard what would he do if he was still in charge of the CBI. And the answer to that question was Dahlia. And Diamond knows there's something different about Dahlia, but he's still cautious because he doesn't know what the side effects are. And Liliana and Tommy warning JP that he needs to follow the science and get the cut right and consistent worries me, because if he doesn't, we could see a whole bunch of death on the street from this new cheaper version. But coming back to Jenard, he's after the source of Dahlia, and when he finds out that Moshe is in, he guns down one of his men and takes the product, which he takes to Marshall's cousin in Gary. But with a twist, he's not charging him, he just wants him to be ready for when he goes to war with the guys behind this drug. So this story with Jenard and Tommy is just heating up that bit more, and I really do wonder which side Diamond will take, because he knows how reckless Jenard can be, but also how clever Tommy is. But just sticking with Diamond, he's someone who also did his research on Adrian as much as she did her research on him, but she was actually meant to meet Elijah in the booth, not Diamond. So I do think this is real, where she does like him, but it is still dangerous in my opinion, and Diamond still needs to watch himself. But let's talk about Tommy's family secrets, because there was so much reveal from Kate returning to Tommy finding out about Dmacc. But Miriam Egan dying is something that I mentioned before, because this would be the catalyst for Kate Egan to return. But when Miriam Egan did die, JP asked the question, who was her emergency contact, which we never got the answers to in that moment anyway. But where JP tried to convince Tommy to call Kate, he was still reluctant. But after looking at the photos and videos that JP gave him, we saw him looking at Kate's number, and then we saw Kate Egan answering her phone. But it wasn't Tommy that called her, it was actually JP. And maybe she was the emergency contact, because I really don't see how else JP would have found her number. But now that JP has called Kate, it is only a matter of time before she makes her way over to Chicago for Miriam Egan's funeral, reuniting with Tommy and meeting JP for the first time. And where we also get the answers to all the questions we've been asking for weeks and weeks. But this wasn't all. Something else that was revealed was Dmacc being Tommy's nephew, and it started with this conversation where Dmacc was looking to be a part of Tommy's organization. And I mentioned before that Dmacc, he showed us he wasn't the brightest kid, and someone who probably missed out on some education, especially when he couldn't even say the word careers. And it was revealed in this conversation that he didn't start reading until he was 6. But he definitely showed us that he's got a mind for numbers, and where Jenard had Dmacc playing in the wrong position, Tommy's definitely going to have him playing in the right one in his organization, and he's going to take Dmacc under his wing, even more so now that he knows he's his nephew and JP's son, because he followed him to his spot where he stashes some of his stuff, and he saw this. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tommy now works with JP and Dmacc, knowing who Dmacc is, because he definitely has a big soft spot for family, and where his family in New York with the St. Patrick's is now broken beyond repair. I do think we're going to see him try to repair this one. But elsewhere, we saw Walter Flynn's lung cancer is at stage 1, and they've got it early, so this is something he can actually fight, but only if he chooses to, because we all know how stubborn he is. Now, we also saw another cop blackmailing Officer Bennigan with how he's working for the Flynns, asking for $50,000, which he can't afford because he's got his sister's medical bills to pay, which he blames Diamond for. But we did see him getting his double pay from Vic, but how long is it gonna last? Again, let's wait and see. But that was episode 8, and as usual, definitely another impactful one in the Power universe, and in this case, it came with Gloria and Miriam Egan's death, Kate returning, and Tommy finding out the truth behind Dmacc. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section on episode 8, and I will be back with my recap part 2 later on this evening as usual. So of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.